This morning I was like arguing with an underwriter, like, I can't do this anymore.
Why?
Because
What
I'm
do
so
you mean?
perfect. What are you talking about?
Oh, look at you. Here we go.
Why is the underwriter questioning me? I know what I'm doing.
Why is the underwriter questioning me? If I had $1 for every time I heard that question, I think it would be like, I probably wouldn't need commissions anymore. You know what I mean? Like, it would be one of those things like, dude, I've been doing this for so long, and who is this underwriter? And da 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 da. So how you been?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you. Thank you for asking.
Yeah?
You?
What do you... Oh, doing great. Staying busy.
Yeah.
Staying busy. You know, we're in town in McAllen doing the Home and Garden Show this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
We've got the booth going, the whole 9 yards. We're going to be doing giveaways. So, yeah, just staying busy, recording podcasts. You're one of 4 that we're going to be recording today.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, but yours was the one I wanted to absolutely get on audio because I think you've just got one of those stories that, I mean, is tremendous. I think it's a tremendous story, and I think, you know, what little I know of you through the years of, you know, quite honestly, in the past trying to recruit you, it was just one of those things to where it's like, man, this girl's really got it. Like, she's really got it. So,
Thank you.
you know, I definitely wanted to get you on here, and I thank you so much for taking time to come and sit in the chair today.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah. So, hey, guys, welcome back to another episode of the Big B Mortgage Podcast. Today, I've got just a very special guest. I know you hear me say that all the time, but I'm really excited about who I've got sitting in the chair today, and that is Miss Corina. Now, help me with the last name. Backer from Gold Financial Services has come in and sat down in the chair, and she decided to share a little bit of her story today. So, what's up, girl? How you been?
I'm doing fantastic, and I don't feel my story is all that special, but it is a pretty interesting story.
See, here's the thing. Everybody says that, and I know in knowing what I know of you, I love it even more because you're not telling me that out of some false sense of humility. Like, I mean, you know, you're a very humble girl, even though I know you like to make money,
yes.
right?
I like to work for it, for sure.
But you're definitely not out there tooting your own horn, which I think is great. And also, I would argue that probably contributed to your success in the industry.
Yes.
So, what I normally like to do, I don't know if you've listened to any of my other episodes, but I really like to kind of just start off, take me back to the beginning. Tell me I want to know your story. So, was mortgage lending your first sales job?
It was not my first sales job, but it was something that my first sales job, believe it or not, was at Bell's. I was 16 and I was a gift wrapper.
Oh my gosh!
and I was still in high school, and we had those classes where you like kind of work half a day, and you know you went to class half a day and you get full credit and stuff.
Right.
I was a young mother, so by my senior year, I didn't have a choice but to get working.
Okay.
It was almost not a choice. I didn't have the wherewithal to go straight to college, so I started working. I was lucky enough to get hired at a bank as a bank teller.
Which
part-time.
bank?
It was Texas Commerce Bank.
Texas Commerce Bank.
Which used to be the Newhouse Tower.
Right.
I was in the drive-through, and then, of course, now it's a government. It's a government building.
Wow.
The black building, not the tall one, not the Chase Tower, but the other black one. It used to be Texas Commerce Bank. They had just built it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you started off as a teller?
Mm-hmm. I started off as a teller.
Okay.
And with the drive-through, you know, so it was actually, I tell people it was the best job that I ever had because it helped me with my sales. I was happy. It was the funnest job I ever had, and it was the least paying job I ever had.
Right.
You know,
even less than the Bell's gift wrapping gig?
Well, no, yeah, that was, I don't even remember what I made there, like $3 an hour, I'm not too sure. But, you know, I mean, we laughed a lot. We were in the motor bank, so we could, you know, you could turn off the mic and talk and, you know, laugh. And I met a lot of interesting and intelligent people there. And, you know, I look forward to going to work every day. But at the end of the day, I was a provider for my household.
Right.
And I was 19, 20 at the time.
Oh, wow.
So I had to set my sights on something more. And I did come from looking at the bankers and just looking up to them and thinking, okay, I want to do that. What do I need to get to that point?
Right.
And my dad or my mom was the one who told me, says, Corina, you would give yourself promotions if they wouldn't give you promotions, because I didn't notice, but I was constantly applying and changing banks.
Okay.
So I worked at Hidalgo Savings and Loan. I worked at Texas State Bank. I worked at Wells Fargo Bank. I worked at Rio Bank. I worked at several banks in the area.
Really?
But each time it was always for a position where I knew I could do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I just needed the opportunity. And the best opportunity was when I started working at Texas State Bank in the back room. Texas had just passed the home equity laws, and we were able to start doing loans on mortgages on homes.
Mm-hmm.
And they put me in a cubbyhole, and they're like, okay, you're going to be the home equity gal. So I went for training on that, and that's all I did. Margie Karst at the time I think she's still training. I think she's still in banking and the real estate processor manager. I think she's always been doing that.
Right.
And she took me under her wing. I was a young girl, and she trained me. Like we would sit down and go over the Texas laws, and we learned home equities together, and I would review a lot. But I'm not a cubbyhole person. I'm not, so one of the things that she was always doing is like, you need to sit down, you need to focus, you need to, so that's when I thought, okay, I'm going to go back, and I started applying, and I ended up being a banker.
Gotcha.
And I loved that. I loved what I was doing.
Gotcha.
But one of the things that I always wanted to get into mortgage.
Yeah.
But I was always afraid of commission. I was stuck on I need my paycheck.
It's scary.
I need my salary because I was on a fixed income, and I had these bills.
Yeah.
I had two boys at the time, and I was really involved with them, though. I was the sports mom. I was a football mom. I was a quarterback club mom. I did all of that. We traveled, win sports and stuff. So I kind of needed to do that at the time.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So, and then years later, they're older. I got divorced. I got remarried, and it was my husband kind of encouraged me to go ahead and get my license.
Really?
But still scared. I went off to work for Chase as a mortgage lender, and that's where I was doing HARP loans, refinances, all because I decided to get my mortgage license in 2010.
Oh.
So it was not really a good time for purchase business.
Right.
But I just still decided to go for it, and I learned as much as I could through Chase and through their trainings, and I did HARPs. I learned how to cold call. I think I did really, really well there until I finally took the next leap, and I went into mortgage and
kind of on the private sector side, for lack of a better term.
Exactly.
And that's awesome, because a lot of people, I think, don't take advantage of what banks like Chase and Wells can actually offer if you're looking to break into this industry.
Absolutely. Wells Fargo has a great training program. I loved working at Wells Fargo when I was there. I worked with a lot of other lenders, Pati Cabrales. There's some other loan officers that I worked with in banks.
Sure.
And we see each other, and we kind of have a mutual respect for each other because we all know where we came from.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? And you're right about the humble beginnings, because I did come from humble beginnings, and I worked my way to where I'm at now. I know what it's like to be on the other side of the table.
Absolutely.
Even being in banking, when I was purchasing my first home, I remember being so nervous, asking a friend of mine at the bank to help me out. And she was really busy at the time. So I went to another loan officer in the private sector.
Yeah.
Somebody had recommended this particular person. And I had found a home, and it was a for sale by owner. I didn't know anything about contracts, how to negotiate it. The lender said, okay, you're pre-qualified. And I just said, okay, well, I need help with this contract because it's a for sale by owner. And never heard from him. A week passed, 2 weeks passed, and I finally went back over there, and he's like, well, you're not qualified. You're not approved after all. And not just that, but the house was eventually purchased by that person.
Oh.
Yeah. And so I thought, okay, when I got into this business, that I feel that all the time because I love that home. And so I think I don't want to be that person. I want to make sure that when the client leaves my office, whether they're approved or not, they know everything about what it takes to purchase a home, what they need, where they stand. I don't just say, okay, you're qualified, go out, look for your home, and bring me your docs later. Like, I explain to them what docs I need and why, and I make them feel good about this. This is a very nervous moment in their lives, very stressful sometimes. Right. So I make sure I talk to the husband and the wife. Even if just the wife comes in, I'll eventually make sure that I get to talk to the husband as well, because I want them to know who I am, and I want them to be comfortable to talk to me.
Right.
And that's just how I am. That's what I like to do. I like to make sure that they have a good experience.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, well, and it's funny you say that, because I remember I've been in mortgage a long time, and I remember back in the day when it was just like you described, like the people that were getting into the industry or the people that were in the industry at that time. And I'm talking year 04 through...
That's about the time, exactly.
About 2010.
I purchased my home. The home that I eventually purchased was in 05, so all this happened about 04.
Yeah, but it was a glorified, like... And even then, like, when you're pre-qualified, back those days, it was their best guess. Yeah. Is really what it boils down to. And most of the time, they're not even looking. And it was because there was a lot less regulation in our industry, I guess, back then, unlike now, but... I think now we've been very fortunate as an industry to where the people that are doing it for the most part know what they're doing. Mm-hmm. And at least a lot of the people that I talk to, or the people that make it on this podcast, are people who, like what you do, take it very seriously, make sure that client is extremely well informed, transparency. Yeah. Because, I remember buying my first house, it was just like, okay, what do I do now? Yeah. Just sign this. Okay. Get me this. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, and it was just, okay. Next. Okay. I didn't know what I was signing, and it's a mountain of paperwork just for the application. Yeah. Those people who balk at e-signing our applications now, I just want to tell them, like, come on, guys. Really? Yeah. Really? So you did time at the bank. I'm a graduate of the Wells Fargo University as well. Yeah. So I remember. You went to the bank. You were at the bank for a while. Now, when I first met you, you were working in the private sector, for lack of a better term, with Cornerstone Mortgage, right?
Yes.
That's where we first met.
That's where we first met. Yeah.
And you, at that time, you were looking to kind of further expand your horizons. But how did you end up at Cornerstone? Did they do a loan for you? Were you just introduced?
I was introduced. I was introduced to Oscar. Okay. And
good old Oscar Chow.
Oscar Chow. He's very enthusiastic, very good vibes, very positive person. Oh, yeah. And, when I met with him, that's when, like I said, I really considered it, and I talked to my husband about it. I told him my fears about commission. Right. And he's like, just go for it. I support you 100%. So I did, and I don't regret it, because I met some wonderful people. Yeah. I met some wonderful people there. And I got a lot of experience. I learned from... Now I see, and they're one of the best.
Oh yeah, no, Oscar's done a great job.
And then I was there. I wasn't there very long. I actually wasn't married yet when I started there, and then I got married, and then I met William Esquivel from Go Financial. Yep. It took me a while to jump in, sure. Because again I was very comfortable at Cornerstone, but they made me an offer, and I went with it, and I have another family. Sure. I have met a whole group of wonderful, intelligent people, very strong people, and this transition has actually made me stronger. It has made me more confident in my work. Mm-hmm. Learning the products and services, they basically let you free, to go out and do your marketing and bring people in, and it's made me a strong individual, because before I used to have to depend on a team. Right. And now I know I can depend on myself. So I really, I feel like I'm thriving right now.
See, but something you said really catches me, and that was I was comfortable.
Yeah.
I was comfortable. Comfort, and I try to tell people this.
It starts complacency, and
it holds you back.
It holds you back. Yeah.
Two things that'll kill your growth professionally, in my opinion, are complacency and procrastination.
Yeah.
You know, if you listen to the Gary Vaynerchuks of the world and the, Grant Cardones, I mean, they'll tell you flat out, like, lack of action is the worst thing you can do. Especially
when you feel like I'm big on gut feelings.
Sure.
Okay, this is tugging at me. My curiosity is sparked. I want to see what that is. Where can this take me?
Right.
And that's the only reason why I left, because I was ready for that.
You were ready for that next chapter.
Yeah, yes. But and so far so good. So
well, I tell you, I mean,
can't complain.
And that's the thing. Like, yeah, I've got a ton of respect for what you're doing out there, because yours, as well as a handful of others, those are the names that you hear over and over and over. And not in that negative sense, because there are names in our area to where whenever they're said, it's kind of like with a rolling of the eyes. But but yours has always been one. It's like, oh yeah, man, she's top notch. She's That's doing great things. So whatever you're doing, keep it up. It's working for you. But so tell me, for those who may be listening to this, all 12 of them now, how did you actually overcome the fear of going to 100% commission? Because again, for guys like me, that's how I started in my career, right? Way back selling mobile homes in Laredo.
Right.
It was 100% commission.
Yeah. And
I would get paid 3 draws, and that was it.
Yeah.
Like, if I didn't sell anything, like, I could go to work, but there was no money coming in.
Right.
So, and it's very similar today, because for a lot of companies, it's like, well, you'll get a minimum wage equivalent, but that doesn't even cover your insurance, practically. So for you, and back then, I'm assuming it was just flat out no pay till you close, right?
Well, actually, I've been blessed. It was when I sit down and talk about it, it's really kind of cool the way it transitioned, because it was a very smooth, moderate transition.
Really?
Like, it wasn't just cutthroat from salary to commission. I actually went from salary, then to salary plus commission. Then I went to draws plus commission, and then now I'm 100% commission. Which is pretty cool, because I like that I don't have to pay back anything. I like, if I close a deal, I'm going to get paid for that deal.
It's very cool, but it's also not widely heard of in our industry these days either.
It's not, but I'm okay.
Yeah.
Like, I'm really confident. Like, I can make it work. I'm all about creating relationships with my referral partners. I have tried it all. And I have kept my word on everything. I've done lead generation with certain companies, certain agents, and that's worked out really well. But I still am a people person. I love to make friends, and so I have created relationships where I've had to give myself.
Sure.
I've had to open up about myself and my life. And then all of a sudden, you just start attracting all these people that are just like, hey, I know what you're going through. I'm going through the same thing.
Right.
And stuff like that. And then all of a sudden, we trust each other. And it's like they're sending me clients because they're sending me their family and friends. And then all of a sudden, hey, this client isn't, working out at this other company, or
right.
I have somebody looking. Can you call? I will call them, and I notify all parties. And it can get exhausting, but but I do it. I still try to do it. It's text, email, phone calls, and luckily I have a team now, so I have an assistant that's going to be helping me out with all of that stuff. But
nice.
It can get overwhelming sometimes.
Very quickly too, right? Because you can be sitting there twiddling your thumbs for 2 days of the week. And then the last 3 to 4 days of the week, it's just chaos. It's like the phone's ringing every 20 seconds. I know, like, our person here sent me a screenshot of her phone one day. Like, it was an especially busy day for her, right? And it was literally the screenshot of the missed calls. And they were literally running, like 2 minutes apart or something like that. And she was like, I think I need to hire more people. But it's good, because then you have, it's peaks and valleys, right?
Now, peaks and valleys.
Do you experience that? Do you experience the peaks and the valleys, or have you gotten to the point where you kind of peak, plateau, and then climb? Do you know what I mean?
To be honest, I think I'm at the point where I'm peaking and plateauing.
Mm-hmm.
I had peaks and valleys. When I'm not busy, when the phones are not working, or not, not ringing, I'm nervous. That's what makes me nervous.
Right.
So I don't stop working.
So you're in a constant state of hunting? Is that what it is?
And I start calling old clients. I catch up with other agents that I haven't talked to in a while.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of know who to call. I'm all about feeling and what's pulling me. I'm like, okay, this is pulling me right now. I'm going to go head first, and I'm going to go in and just jump on this and do all these offers, all these campaigns and stuff like that. So
what does that look like for you, if you don't mind me asking? What's it like what's a day in the life? In other words, do you have and again,
no day is the same.
There you go. Okay.
No day is the same. I wake up with a plan. I always have a plan.
And you try to stick to it.
By the time I walk in the office, the plan is out the door.
Right. Yep. Yep. After those first 5 calls, that's it.
But I like to call out as much as I like the calls coming in.
Gotcha.
And now that I have a team, I'm constantly sitting down, discussing the files that we have going on, the pipeline, see what we got to do. Mm-hmm. And then I start on my sales and I start on my calls. And like I said, the calls are coming in, the clients are calling, the title companies are calling, the agents are calling. So it's a constant,
Do you feel that you've been blessed with really good mentors along the way, or?
I have.
You have?
Yes, absolutely.
Multiple mentors?
Multiple.
So tell me about one of them.
Wow.
Just pick one. Pick your favorite. Oh, no.
Oh.
No, I'm not. I'm just kidding. Just pick one at random. And the reason I ask is because that's something I've been doing a lot of reflection on. Mm-hmm. And I am actually starting a side series of this podcast.
I can give you a list of
dedicated
names.
To my mentors.
I can give you a list of names of my mentors. But I want to say the first one when I first went to Chase, and it was Ernesto.
Okay.
And Ernesto was the regional manager. He's the one that even convinced me to go to Chase. But he was constantly pouring positivity and, you can do it type of things, and let me look at it. He was always there. He always picked up the phone, always guided me in the right direction.
Right.
Then, of course, Cornish. I think everywhere that I've gone, there's been a mentor.
You've been a good There's been a good mentor relationship.
Yeah, and what I like about Gold Financial is what do you need? Just let me know what you need, and we'll try to. So, I've asked for, for example, the MRI books. Mm-hmm. Those I memorize like the Bible, but still I have them on my desk because they have saved me so many times. So, if it wasn't for mentors guiding me and saying, hey, this is going to be a good tool for you.
Right.
Or, hey, this is what we can do. And for example, Will, he's a regional manager. Mm-hmm. And since I started, like I said, anything that I've asked that, hey, I think this is going to be good. I think we should take this route. I want to do this with my referral partners. Absolutely. What do you need? Let's go do it. No questions asked.
Right.
And so he really helped me get to that next level when it comes to that. I created a lot more relationships at the time. I went through something really personal in mm-hmm. 2015. Mm-hmm. And that's when you know that you're at the right place, because I had other LOs that are just as busy and have their own personal things going on. Right. And still stepped up to the plate when I needed, when I was absent. Yeah. When I couldn't be there, they picked up my files. They called my clients. They made sure that the closings happened. Right. So I really owe a lot to that, to Will and to Robert over at, here at Go Financial, because if it wasn't for them keeping on top of my files, I don't know if I would have even gotten through that. Period. Financially. Right. Yeah, financially. So, I mean, it's kind of great, when you step back and look at everything from a bigger picture, you're just like, I'm okay, Right. God has blessed me, thank God.
There you go. Well, and I tell you what, I've known Will for so long. I mean, and this dates back to like 04, 05. I remember him when he was a branch manager in Laredo, Texas. And he was in one room of a like an executive suite with like 4 other people.
Yeah.
I was in wholesale at the time. That's how I met him.
Oh, okay.
And we kind of just, like, we connected, right? And now, yeah, of course, we're competitors or whatever, but, I mean, he's still a friend at the end of the day.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And that's one of the things that I think is great, is that you can still maintain kind of like that mutual respect for each other, even though you're on opposite sides of the field.
Yes.
And I've got a lot of respect for what he's done, because I remember I actually worked with him. So I was his wholesale rep. And when I exited wholesale, I opened up a small branch of what was then Emerald Capital Mortgage before they went under the gold umbrella. And so we actually worked together for a period. But I remember when it was him and Johnny sitting in that open space in that one little building right over here on 10th Street, you know, and to see where he's gone. Now to where, you know, gold is one of the, like, if not the top, one of the top. I don't know what the stats are right now, but to see how he's built it up, I think is truly special. And I think it all relates back to, you know, kind of like what you described. Is having that leadership to be able to step in for folks when they're in need. You know what I mean? Yeah.
And Mike Goldman and him, you know, work really good together. I like that there's not, Mike Goldman's not, he's approachable. He's not closed door type of head honcho that you can never get a hold of. But I don't have to, because I got Will. You know, Will is, he calls him up and says, okay, this is what we're going to do. You know, I have a lot of respect for Will, you know, because of what I've seen as well, how it's grown, how he's helped me, how he's assisted everybody at the office. You know, we just opened up our regional offices. We have, it's on 23rd and Buddy Owens. Okay. Because, you know, all these LOs are coming in and we're kind of running out of space. You know, we're still all together. We're a big team, you know. But I'm over at the Buddy Owens office now. So, McAllen.
Cool. Yeah. Okay, so you're not next door.
No, I'm not next door.
Gotcha. Okay. Gotcha. Well, cool. So what's on the horizon for Corina this year? What are some things you want to accomplish in 2018?
To be honest, it's more a personal accomplishment.
Okay.
Because my sons are already, I have a 26-year-old, it's going to be 27, and then I have a 23-year-old. My husband loves to fish. You know? And I work so much and so hard that I would but in essence, choose not to really enjoy life with him as much as I wanted to. Sure. I still did. Don't get me wrong, because I still like my weekends and hanging out with my husband all the time. But this year I kind of want to spend a little bit more time with my family. You know, we got a new baby in the family as well. My sister just had a baby.
Really? Congratulations.
And yes, and
Auntie.
So, yes, she's adorable. And so there's personally, I want to kind of just like be a little bit more, I don't know how to describe it, just a little bit more in touch with my family. Right. You know, I got an aging father and mother, and, you know, so I just kind of, that's what I'm aiming for this year. It's more of a personal goal.
I think it's great. I mean, I'm in a similar spot. I think I've got really another year and a half because of all the territory I have to oversee before I can kind of, and God forbid I ever say put it on cruise control, because that's never going to happen, right? But just to be able to kind of break off, and I'm doing that more myself now with the help of my wife. Good. Yeah, I remember not too long ago, I think I came home and she was like, hey, by the way, I bought tickets to San Diego, you know, for us and the family. We're going to go take a weekend. And I was like, okay, great. You know, like, I didn't have to make a decision. Yeah. It was done. It was cool, and it was a great trip. So, you know, it's one of those things, though, I'm trying to balance my time as well. Yeah. But I think that's awesome, man. And I'm really excited to see where you go.
Thank you.
You know, because I know one thing's for sure, you're not going to get smaller in regards to your book of business. Yeah. So I'm just really excited, and I really thank you for taking time to sit in the chair today.
Thank you for having me. Thank you. Yeah. There's a lot more stories, but I know that we're
What? I smell a follow-up episode.
Yeah. That's
good.
fine.
Well, hopefully you had fun. Did you have fun?
I did.
Was it okay?
Yes, it was okay.
Did you get over the nerves?
I was a little nervous, but I'm fine. Thank you.
Everybody is. It took me 6 months to release the first episode.
Really?
I was
congratulations.
So scared. Oh, thank you. I'm not making any money off of this, but it's fun.
It's fun.
It's fun, and I get to share stories like yours with the listeners, and so I think that's the cool part. So, just shy of giving out your cell phone number, don't do that.
Okay.
But how can people reach you? What's your, can they find you on social media?
Yeah, they can find me on Facebook, Instagram, Corina Backer. You can Google my name and my phone number, and my business comes out.
There you go.
I prefer, text is probably the fastest.
Yeah, I don't like giving out cell phone numbers because I really don't know who's listening.
That's okay.
So, yeah.
Not a problem.
But
you can call me at my office.
Okay.
956-627-3977.
There you go, folks. You heard it here. If you want to get a hold of Corina Backer, she just gave out that number. Just hit rewind 30 seconds and you're good to go. All right. Well, Corina, thank you so much for taking time.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank
Hey,
you.
everybody. I hope you enjoyed this episode. And if you did, give us a like, give us a share, leave some comments. But most importantly, stay social, everybody. Until next time.